know them deer can hear you whenever you're peeing in the woods. If you're anything like me, sometimes you gotta take a leak almost as soon as you get to the stand. Now, I like to stay hydrated, but I don't want that to ruin my hunt. That's why I invented the tree stand urinal. Now there's three parts to the tree stand urinal. The first part goes at the top of your tree right next to your stand. And this is the part that you'll take a leak in. You flip the lid open and pee inside the urinal. If you'd like to, after you're done peeing, to add a little more sun protection, you can rinse it out with a little bit of water. Now, the liquid will travel down this hose, which will run alongside the tree, down to the base of the tree. At the ground, you'll take this perforated ground spike and stick it into the ground. There's holes underneath so that it disperses your urine deep underground where the deer can't smell it. So here's a little bit closer look for you guys at the urinal itself. This is where you hang it from the tree. Give it a flip up. Take your leak right in there. Got your hose here. Comes with 25 feet of hose. Travels down the hose, and then this is your ground spike, which will show you in just 1 second how to put into the ground. Now when it comes time to install your urinal, what I recommend doing is starting at the top. First thing you're going to do is take the supplied hook and screw that into the tree. That way you can hang your urinal. Now what I would recommend is to maybe take a little bit of a guess at what height you want this at. Now the higher the better, because the less noise you'll make when you're peeing into the urinal. And that's what we're all about, is making sure them deer don't hear us or smell us. So put your hook in and you can slide your urinal over it like that. Now from there we'll run our hose down the tree, cut our hose to length, and install the ground spike. Now I'm not going to tell you how to handle your squirt bottle, and there's a lot of ways to use this urinal, but I'm just going to demonstrate a couple for you. Now one way is to leave it hanging on the tree like this. This way you can kind of lean over, and then with your squirt bottle, take a leak right into it. Now, another thing that you can do, if you don't feel comfortable in turning around in your stand like that, or maybe you don't have a lot of room, you're in a tight space, is you can take your urinal off your hook, and if you're going to use it this way, you want to leave yourself a little slack. And then you can bring it over to yourself and your squirt bottle and just go like that. Alright, now that we have the urinal installed up at our stand, I'm going to show you how to put the ground spike in. Now, the ground spike can work a couple different ways, and depending on the type of soil that you have, you might want to do things a little differently. If you have really hard soil like clay that doesn't drain very well, it might be in your best option, if you're hunting a stand in a permanent location, to dig out a little bit of a hole and either put some stone or some sand in there so that when you take a leak up top in that tree, it has somewhere to go. If you're in a really saturated or not well draining soil like clay, sometimes the urine will have a tendency to travel up the hole that you pushed the spike down in, and we don't want that to happen. So we take a few extra steps to keep that from happening. You can do this in any type of soil if that is a problem that you may have, and I always recommend to test the system before you use it, just to make sure that that doesn't happen to you. Now, sometimes you're going to have to pull this spike a little bit of ways away from the base of the tree, depending on how big of a tree you're in and what the root system is like underneath it. You might be able to find a place where you can sneak in between the roots, but a lot of times you got to come out a little ways. Another thing to take into account for when you do that is to make sure you have enough hose to come out a little ways when you get to that point in the installation. So what I do is find where I'm going to put my spike, take my hose, cut it to length, and then we can put the hose on the nipple, and then we're going to push this spike into the ground. If you can't push it into the ground by hand, that's okay. You can tap on it very carefully with a rubber mallet, and just be sure you don't hit the nipple, because you could break that off. And if that doesn't work, my next suggestion would be to maybe just bring a little shovel with you and just, loosen up the soil that you're going to be putting it into. Doing this will also help it drain better. And like I said before, if it's a soil application like clay or soil that's not going to drain very well, something like that may help it as well. Now, what you'll do is push the spike in and get it as far into the ground as you can. Then what I recommend doing is taking some soil around it and compacting that soil around the spike. So this will also further prevent any water following that spike back up, following that hole, because it's going to try to take the path of least resistance, and that's not what we want. We want that urine to disperse underground. So that's what we do. Take a little bit, pack around it nice and tight, take a little more soil, and you can fill it up. And then what you can do too is, if you want, cover that back up with leaves, cover it up to the base of the tree, and you're good to go. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope that we made a product that can help enhance your hunt next year. If you'd like to purchase one of our Stowe Outdoor Co. tree stand urinals, take a look at the description below for a link to our website, and you can purchase one there. And make sure that them deer don't smell you when you're taking a leak in your tree stand next year, and they don't hear you when you're peeing from 20 feet up.